good morning to you. We're having a very interesting conversation in studio, and we highly apologize for coming in late, but you understand we had to let that speech go on. And welcome to your world. Thursday edition, we do all things trendy. My name is Mikali Mary.
And my name is Winnie Lumbebe. I wish you guys could hear the conversations that were happening before, to dissect Agikuyu culture and you who was doing what with who and amazing things, all right? That's something we didn't even learn in school. Yeah. So it's amazing that we get to learn that here. But today on the show, we'll be focusing on the rise of musical theatre right here in the country. It's not the first time that we're talking about theatre right here in Kenya, but we want to understand the role of musical plays in preserving dialects and traditions.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, yes. So for those of you Gen Alphas and Gen Zs who are like, Sasa, now what is that? And the kids are at home. Stick around, okay? You will get to understand more of the same. And we have amazing people joining us on set today. And let me tell you, these guys now understand why didn't go in theatre. Then there's a way you are talking, eh? Kikuyu da umenda uko chini. Alafu sijui someone just asked you a question in English and you're like, you know, by the way, yeah.
Exactly, the transition.
Yeah. He's like, hiya, who's this? Nelix Director, who's an actor, and we also have Josephine Maboy, who's is it actor now or actress? Because now we usually say, senior actor too. Senior actor too, right? Yeah. But there's a name that you said, Queen of what?
Oh, I said Miss Boom the Goddess.
Hey. I think there's a beauty in, you know, giving yourself titles like that. Like there's such a... You can't put me down because when I wake up in the morning, I wake up as a goddess. You can't tell me anything.
By the way, that is what I believe.
If you were to give yourself a word, what would be your name?
I have never thought about it.
You're not serious though.
There are things you cannot say on live TV, but yeah.
No, those are the things you say on live TV. On live TV, yeah? So that you just stamp.
Manifesting.
Yeah. You know,
You
manifest.
should see my mirror.
With all those things.
Karibuni.
Thank you, thank
So
you.
good to have you guys join us.
Thank you for having us.
Hey. Sasa, where do we start?
Mimi niko hapa.
Yes.
Because, well, I remember very little. The reason you're here is because the musical show you're doing is called Wago wa Makeri.
Yes.
Now, Wago wa Makeri takes me back to see history, high school, like primary school. It takes you back there. And we've seen quite a rise lately in the theatre space where we are being told stories about our past.
Yes.
And I don't know kama mliambiana ama kulienda aje, because it's all of a sudden. Yeah. I think the last 2-3 years we've just been seeing, because Luanda Magere imerudiwa mara kadhaa.
Yes.
We've seen Tomboya being repeated a couple of times. Yes. And now
we have
Wangu wa Makeri.
Wago wa Makeri.
Wago wa Makeri. When did you want to say that?
No.
Wago wa Makeri.
Wago wa Makeri. You have to put that tonation.
Wago wa Makeri.
Well done.
Good job.
Well done.
Yeah, I think maybe we could just start with who was she? Why are we talking about her? Why are we staging her story?
It's important, yes, to stage her story.
I think
now.
Miss Boom, you want to talk about it?
Absolutely, I'm running with fun.
Yes.
Okay, go. And the question you're asking is a question that is being asked across, you know, like everyone wants to know, why are we doing her story right now? Because there's so many controversies that, you know, are behind her. But then also, again, there is also a lot of success behind her story. So who was Wango? We like general knowledge about Wango is that she was the first female chief. Back then, they were called the headmen.
Yes.
The irony of it, headman, but she was also a woman, but she was still called headman. It never changed to be a head woman.
No.
Yes. And so the story behind her that we will not really go into the nitty-gritties, because that is why we need you to come and watch the show. All right.
Utuambie tu yenye iko kwa history books. Usikakwe hivyo.
Now, kidogo tu.
Yes.
So that she was the first female chief in Kikuyu, and actually the only one that has been. There, we haven't had another one. And apart from that is that she ruled with a lot of, we see a lot of power, a lot of confidence in her. But there was also a few controversial stories here and there. And
scandal.
Yes. But what we know, she was very stern. She was a no-nonsense. Like whatever she said has to be done. If if it's not done, you're gonna face the music. All right. However, now the stories that now...
The two in-betweens.
Please, nunueni ticket. You gotta watch the show, yo.
Okay. But, nashanga, huyu Wango, akikuwa headman, kwani ana husband? Husband alikuwa pia ni wale... No,
husband,
by the way.
So that's what you're playing.
So actually, but yes, because it is out there. I'm a preempt. But the reason she's called Wagoa Makerie, Makerie was the husband.
Yeah.
Makerie was the husband. And it's an interesting story. The story behind the story is that there are 3 characters who will come into play here, because again, you have to understand that the culture of the time was very, very different.
All right.
For instance, men of the same age, what we call lika.
Yeah.
Arumea lika remwe.
Age set, okay.
Yes, age set, okay. If, for example, I and my wakine, a man of my lika is called wakine.
Okay.
We can essentially share wives.
Oh yeah.
Oh, used to.
Turudi nyuma. Okay, turudi nyuma kabisa hadi 18 kidu 50, 1700. Sasa tuko 2025, amwezi kubali. But essentially,
no, surprisingly,
but why are you saying like it doesn't happen?
We don't mind. But well, okay, yeah. Go.
So men of the same rika could essentially what is called kohadaitimo. You know, you bury your spear. Like the Maasai still do up to
wait, that used to happen in the Kikuyu culture.
It was the norm of the day.
Yeah.
So her rise to power has a lot to do with that particular custom. Yeah. And again, remember, it's a periodical story. We are setting it, her story probably ends, she died, I think, in the early 1930s, late 20s, early 30s.
Early 30s, yeah.
But the story is now set in the 1890 to around 1910, 1915 there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why? Because someone might, again, going back to culture and say, but there are so many women who are doing amazing things still, but maybe hawa ikuwa inajulikana sana.
Kama tulikuwa na sio Kimau.
But I think one of the outstanding things that you might want to know why, look at this era.
Yeah.
This is the era that I don't think a woman really had a voice, all right? Okay. But then number 2, why it really stood out is because she was also able to have a voice even over the men. Also, like Nelex is saying, the story of how she got the power revolves around the husband being able to allow another man to come in and enjoy the honey of thoughts, who is a wife, all right? And that is how she got the power. And even after that, maybe just to give a little detail, I hope I'll not be preempting everything that is happening, is that the power had been offered to the husband who refused, all right? But she took it. At this time, do you imagine of a woman knowing the husband has been offered a certain position, but then she still takes it? Even today, would you be so courageous to, you might be, but after a lot of consultation. But Wango embraced it fearlessly, which is,
she was
I think,
very strict, very stern.
Exactly. And that even made her stand out even among men. She was fearless, and men really, I don't think they sat so well with that. So I think that is one of the things that makes her stand out among many other leaders.
There's so many facets to her story that is just so fascinating. But why is it important to tell these stories? I know, we talked about, Gen Zs and alphas, they're at home. They're like, so who is that and why does it matter? Like...
She existed in the past.
I mean, right? So why is it important to talk about such stories?
Winnie, I think part of our socialization, as we were discussing earlier, part of our socialization is deficient because as a people, we have no really strong link to where we are coming from. All right? And people who do not know where they're coming from do not know where they're going. And the reason we tell these stories, we want to tell them from our perspective. History, for us, has been taught by teachers, but it was edited by the people who were in power then.
At that time.
Such that even the details of Wango's story are very scanty because the people who were in power then were not interested in her in her story. So it is important for us to go back and find out. If I am a Kikuyu, how did my people live? And you will find that some of the solutions to the modern problems we have probably would lie in our system of socialization and family and culture. So it is important to tell the stories to know who we are as a people, know where we are, and know how to move forward.
And I think just to add on that, it's also important to understand why do we behave in a certain way. All right, it answers a lot of questions. And because at times you see maybe women in a certain community behave in a certain way, and we're not understanding why. But when you go back to the roots, we understand, oh, okay, so they because of it's because of this and that. Also, like Nelex had mentioned, you will see there are certain issues that we're dealing with right now that are so deep, and we didn't have the knowledge of what happened then and the solution they offered. So right now we want to deal with them in the modern way, but it's not working. We are Africans, all right? We have our cultures that were scrapped off, yet these things follow us to date. So the most important thing why we're doing this now, a young person out there at home wondering, why do we have to revive old stories? What have they got to do with us? But you need to understand there are certain things happening in your life, in your parents' life, in your generation to come that are linked to your past.
That's interesting. What does it take? Like you've said, both of you have said that the history that we were taught in school was very scanty, was edited. But for you to be able to stage something authentically and tell us this story authentically as it was, probably close to as it was, because even the information is probably not all there. But what has it taken for you as, because they're script writers, there are people who came up with the idea of let's do this show, but as an actor, what does it take for you to embody that character, to find out what was her demeanor, how was she talking, how was she walking? What was
actually
that like?
Good question, because and especially considering this particular play, Wango, as a production and as actors, we embarked on a journey of literally doing research and going back to where Wango Wamakeri lived.
Oh
Yes.
Wait, what is this for movies, you know?
Wait, please. Theater is as important as film. We took a journey all the way to Murang'a County.
Also, really
fascinating.
Of the perception that you see, and actually that is a misperception that most people have, because they say wamama hapo kwetu mimi ni Wanyeri. Wanajulikana they are. So we embarked on a journey. We were a whole production team. We went to exactly her home. There's actually, even to date, there's a ward named after her, Wango Ward, in Koimbi sub-county, in Wedaga, Murang'a County, what was known as Fort Hall back then. And we had to find men of a certain age who had, because again, remember, we are talking of a story that happened 120 years ago. So someone who is 96 would probably know some
from
more.
the stories.
It was interesting. We actually met the great-grandson-in-law.
He's married to the great-granddaughter of Wango Wamakeri.
Fascinating.
Yes.
You know, these guys saw me get emotional. Because at times the things that fascinate me. And because I'm like, I can see history unfolding in my eyes when these people are telling you the story. I couldn't help it and get teary. I'm like, wait, what?
So we
Wango passed through this part.
we went to where her office, her colonial headman's office
and it's
was still there. We went and saw her cell, her cell where she used to lock in men for misdemeanors,
drunkenness,
wife beaters and all that. There's a castle. It's like I don't know. It's a space where ukiingia una feel claustrophobia because you can actually feel watu walifungiwa.
Energy.
And again, it was such an interesting thing to experience, to actually know that 130 years, this legendary woman walked here. She walked on this land, this soil, you know?
Yeah.
I think that was one of the best days we've had, and we have had many good days. But that was probably one of the best days we've had.
Yes, as we walk through this journey of Wango. For us, it's actually not just a play. No. It has been an experience.
So what did that do to you?
History.
What did that do to you as a woman? Because now there's a lot of conversation about women empowerment and, you know, fighting for equality and all those things. And it's not something that has started now.
Exactly.
It started with her, you know, and fighting these societal norms and going above them and saying, listen, I am a woman and I can sit in this council and offer whatever advice.
Not advice, actually deliberate, and what I say is the law.
It's the law.
People will follow it.
Exactly. As a woman,
so
first
what did
of all,
that do to you?
Yes, that did
because
a
we're
lot
getting
of
chills
things.
over here. We're like, oh my god.
Yes, you can see how these people are reacting. When people saw me crying, you thought I'm crazy. So as a woman, honestly, it gave me a lot of assurity that we are not crazy whenever you're a woman who feels like you want to take control or you want to be in charge, and you do it out of goodwill and with all the genuinity in your heart. Because when we trace back our ancestors, they had the same will, all right? When you see there's a woman who sat down and talked to men and told them, this is the law I'm passing through, and if you don't do this, you're going to be arrested, all right? So people had to stay put, you know, like you have to do what you're being told. And I don't think she did this because there's a lot of development that she brought, all right? People have, you know, they have a disagreement or feel a bit of a friction thinking about Wango as a collaborator with the white man. But remember, at this time, again, when you go back to the history of the Kikuyus, we were very generous people and very hospitable. So whenever we would find strangers, we would welcome them. So that's what happened. We were very welcoming to our community, and that's how the white man came. So back to Wango, she was just being a welcoming person, very hospitable, and trying to interact with this white man. But she was very smart. She made sure that the white man did not just leave her location like that. There was a school built, there's a church built, all right? So she also brought a lot of development. So as a woman, I felt, you know what? Whenever I'm feeling like I have this calling to be a leader, I'ma take it up. And I don't have to feel like I shouldn't do this because I'm a woman. No.
I was going to say she was like a true embodiment of give a woman, what is it? Something.
Yes, she will multiply.
She will multiply. Actually give you a harvest.
Oh, wow.
It's interesting because some of the developments is that one of the first schools in Muranga was built in her location. The earliest school was built in her location in Weidhagas.
That is still there.
And it's still there.
Still there.
Oh, yes. It is still there.
Very fascinating. So again, and we talked about how it is important to go back to our roots, understand our stories, understand who we are as a people, because then that informs who we become, not just now, but also in the future. So what roles do you guys play? I know you're like, we do not want to give too much, but also we're curious. We just want to
How
understand.
much are you paying?
So the thing is, to checkbook ukoni.
The thing is, some of the interesting stories is that, of course, there will be Makeri. There will be...
Who's playing Wango?
Wow. But please, if you want to know who's playing Wango, go to Quandego on our social media.
You're going to find out.
Yeah, Quandego. We are known as Quandego Productions on all our social media. Because I think we released the trailers of the characters. Let's just tell them.
Thank you for being kind.
I will be, and I hope I don't get fired. Please, Mr. Director, wherever you are, please.
We will take the Wangu energy.
Not Wangu, please. Wangu.
I am trying.
Well done.
I am trying.
So when the production casted Wango, even for us as actors, when we saw who was casted, we were like, because it is being played by the phenomenal Lydia Getachew. Yes. I know. Yes. Hata si tulisikia hivyo. Yes.
It's going to be brilliant.
Yes. She's such an amazing...
Like that role just fell on her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even the face structure, like everything.
Actually, have you seen the poster?
I have seen the poster. It looks like her.
Yes.
I know the version of her.
Yes.
Actually, even the photo that we were shown, because there is a photo of Wango Makeri.
Yeah.
There's a photo we were shown by her great-grandson-in-law.
The real photo.
The real photo of her.
Yeah.
You look at that photo and you look at Lydia and you're like,
Maybe it's her. I didn't
Yes. Actually, it has been quite a journey of research. It has been quite a journey of research to understand, because we are really trying as much as we can to keep it in context. You know, to keep it's a periodic. To keep it in that time period. So even we have found ourselves learning how to speak the way they used to speak.
Kikuyu,
The language, you know, the Kikuyu we have now is very superficial. We have had to learn how to speak, and we keep telling each other during rehearsal, Yo, umesema?
To say it right. I know we need to go on a break. But I don't know if, but I'm wondering.
Yes.
We have the story here.
Yes.
What about the visuals? Will I come in and will the setup, will the setting take me there with the wardrobe, with the makeup, with all of that? Is it everything?
Do we need to reintroduce her to our director?
I think you don't know Lawrence Morage.
Do you know Lawrence Morage?
You know Lawrence Morage. Everybody knows Lau.
You know Lau?
I think Lau is a brilliant mind.
That's a beast.
I have to say, Lau is a brilliant mind.
Beast.
The ones who watched our previous show, our previous show was Ugangwe.
Yeah.
You watched Ugangwe.
I remember that one.
Yes. Ugangwe was the visuals. You saw how he created an entire scenario.
Yes.
Now he will have to do himself. Actually, we imagine, because I wish fanya aje, fanyeni aje, kujeni, So yes, from the 2nd to the 4th of May, that's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 7 p.m. at the Kenyan National Theatre. Advance tickets, early bird tickets are sold out. So now it's advance tickets.
Going for 2,000 bob.
Ni thaumbili peke. Alafu imagine vile mmefurahi na tuko wawili. Sasa imagine tukiwa sisi wote.
I'm convinced. Okay, so we need to go on a break and end this part of the discussion. But in 10 seconds each, Jackson will kill me for this. But where do you see, musical theatre, in Kenya? Because sharing our stories, we don't want just to keep our stories here to amongst themselves, right? So even sharing it at the international stage, Broadway and all these things, what will it take? 10 seconds? 10 seconds.
Starts now. The dream, the vision is to stage a play like Wangu wa Makeri on Broadway or in the Little London in theatre and actually tell the colonialist, you know what? These are our stories. This is who we are as a people. And this is what we are capable of. And inspire also the next generation to want to know how their people are, who they are, where they come from, so that they can know where they're going.
I like that.
Yes. I'm going to touch on the musical bit of it because it's a musical theatre which incorporates music, theatre, dance, acting and all. So I'm looking outside, I'm looking at us incorporating even bigger musicians out there who, like for example, we have now Kendrick Lamar, all right? With all these things that he talks about, he can look at whatever we're doing and try and join us together, to understand the basis of why do people behave the way they behave. That is my vision.
I really like that. Well, okay. To end a break.
Thank you guys for having us. Thank you very much.
It was short and sweet. Courtesy of, we are going to take a very short commercial break. We will be right back. This is Your World. Don't go too far.